Welcome back, YouTube! It is a new block of tea, it's a new dawn with a new song that's very haughty, and that's exactly how I wanted it to sound, because it's tea time. Or is it tea atame? Anyway, today on Block of Tea, I wanted to show off my Thermal Barrier Redpower Reactor, which is a really fancy way of saying it uses these thermopiles to generate red power, blue electric power, and it does so at a fairly decent rate, actually. Down here, you can see I've got a setup. This is the same one right here. I've just encased it differently, made it look kind of spiffy. This is the way I'm going to be building it inside of my project. Then over here, we have a simple solar panel setup, a 9-panel array. And then this over here was just a setup to make sure that I would start both of these running at the same time. So we've got these blue electric engines pumping into these redstone energy cells. And then I've got wireless information readers here. Now I've had these running for a while. You can see that the solar panels are at 8% and these ones are at 7%. And the solar panels are far more efficient. However, they only run when the sun is out, so it has to be day and not storming, and they need access to the sunlight. That's why these are actually so close, because this one runs all the time at the same efficiency. So, practical applications for this, maybe you want to make an underground bunker that is completely self-sufficient. Everything you need is right inside. Here you go, you got your blutricity. If you set up a few of these, you've got your buildcraft power. IC2 power is a little hard to figure out, but there are things you can do. Actually, the watermill setup is usually the one I do when I want to do that. So anyway, what do we got here? We have water, we have lava, and we have these thermopiles in this configuration. This is the most optimal configuration you can get, and keeping every one of these as close to the source as possible. See, I put this thing right here. Every single one of these is only within a few wire jumps. And that's important because these generate very little electricity, and electricity is lost with each one of these wires, so you want them to be as close to your battery box as possible. Now then, what we do is we put lava in the center spaces here, top and bottom, and everything else we fill in with water. So what you do is every single one of these thermopiles will have one surface touching lava, and it will have 4 surfaces touching water, and 1 surface touching wire. Every surface is used. Now let's make it day. Let's get on to how to build it. So the first thing you're going to need, obviously, is the thermopile. These are made from copper ingots, blue doped wafers, blue alloy ingots, and iron ingots. The amounts you'll need are shown right here, 40, 40, 20, and 80. The blue alloy ingots and the blue doped wafers are very early red power alloy things. Brain speak. So I'm not going to go through how to make those. Any red power tutorial is going to have you going through those. The other thing you need are these jacketed wires. Now I'm using obsidian. You can actually use anything you want. Obsidian is the one that's available in the creative tabs when you're inside Minecraft, so that's what I'm using. You make this with a red alloy ingot surrounded by covers of your choice, and that'll give you 4 of them. We actually need a total of 13, so you'll have to make this recipe 4 times. It's actually not that expensive once you slice it down into those panels. Finally, your bat box. I was debating whether to even show this, but here it is. Blutricity batteries, blue alloy ingots, iron, and some wood. And of course you will need one of those. So this is our basic footprint. We're actually going to be building an open-air version of this because it's less resource intensive and you can really case it whatever you want. So you're going to dig out this pit in the ground here. 3 blocks here, 7 blocks here. 2 blocks from the side, you start placing something down. I've made these blocks out of ruby because they're very important. If you don't have these here, your lava's going to mix with your water, and that's going to be all kinds of not cool. So now, once you have all this done, you're going to place any old block you want on top. This is just a placeholder, so that we can start placing our first 10 thermopiles. Just like this. Alright, we have the first 10 thermopiles down. Now we're going to break those blocks, and our first 3 buckets of lava are going down, followed by the first run of the obsidian, or whatever jacketed, blue electric wire. And this is also the point where you want to decide where you want your output wire to come from. You want it to be in the middle of the long slide, so that, like I said, anywhere you are in this, it's very quick to get back over there. Now, I could even extend this out a little bit further here, maybe, you know, with 2 more like this, but then it makes it kind of tricky to get the water in place for everything, so I haven't done that for this design. Feel free to experiment. This is simply the way I do it. Now, directly on top of our jacketed wire, we're going to place the other 10 of the thermal piles. Just like that. And fill in the insides with lava. Now, if you're using a combustible material for your jacket, I don't think it will burn when lava touches it, but I wouldn't trust me. I mean, I don't trust me. Do you trust me? I don't trust me. Now we're going to put something along the top, so you just need to cover the lava, because we're going to be pouring water right on top of this. I love using the Soren glass. It's really nice, and you can break it with a pickaxe, and you still keep it. Now then, before I start doing the water, I'm going to put down our battery box there, and I'm going to put some glass around it, because I know there's a bit of an issue with the water not really behaving around there. So now the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to put a bucket of water right under this output cable. That's because when the water flows down, it doesn't flow around the wire. So it would leave that spot open, so we want to put that down to start. Now we're just going to go along the top here, fill in between, and basically you just want to make sure you've got 1 bucket of water on top of every thermal pile. Now at the very bottom here, the water is flowing under them. So at this point, we are actually done. We'll look at our bat box and we'll see that it's starting to generate blutricity. And it's gonna go. It's a little slow to start. It'll pick up. At least it better pick up. It's actually going a lot slower than I would think it should be. So let's try and break and replace that and see if that helps. Oh yeah, now she's going up. Little bit of an update glitch there. Well, in any case, it'll work. So that's it. That's your entire engine right there. Now, what you can do with these is you can make multiple of these cells, but the trick is you want everyone to have its own bat box here. Because like I said, when power travels through these wires, you lose a lot of it. So if you've got this thing down generating 1/10 of a volt or whatever it is, by the time you get out this far, you've got nothing left. But this works kind of the same way that the Buildcraft stuff does. If it starts here, and you know that this is going to have a decent output, now you can actually run this out much further, or you can even use the transformers to convert it to the high voltage, and use the 10 kilovolt cables, and you can run it much further with much less drop, which is what I do in a lot of cases. So, now that that's done, I'm going to show you one other project I've been working on, and it's this grayish looking thing over here. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is set this to idle. Alright. And I'm going to run this because I always forget to run this. So, originally the project was called White Mesa, based on the recommendations of a friend. I've since changed it to Block Mesa. And I am currently in the process of building it on our Direwolf 20 server, which is not currently an open server. We're looking at doing that, but all of the mods like Forge Essentials and stuff have too big of a negative impact on the server, and they're not very stable at the moment. So if we ever get that sorted out, I'm planning to make it an open server, but for now it's just community members. Alright, so you can't have Block Mesa without the Block Mesa automated tram system. So here is my design based on some of the doorways that they have in Black Mesa. Just kind of imagine the sounds going in with that there. I love doing that. Completely automated system, with the exception that there's some problems with the programming at the moment, in that it doesn't keep running, but fully automatic system there. And it's very much a proof of concept for later use in the map, but for now it works very nicely. And now I've screwed up the locomotive again because I pushed it back onto this track. But this is a completely automated system. It's completely controlled by the computer here. I'll just very quickly show you. It's you know, very simple redstone commands. Basically what it does. Now, first thing we have is this system here. This will slow down the locomotive. Shut up, sheep. And this one right here will actually put it into idle mode. And this will put it back into go mode and slowest mode. What we have right here is a holding track. So what happens is right about in between this area is when the front cart gets to the holding track and it stops the whole thing dead. But it also triggers this sensor right here, which tells the system, hey, there's a cart there. So the system will open the gates here, extend the path, and then turn this holding gate on, which will pull the train forward back across both the running and the low speed sections. And then we come back to over here. So now we're going across the bridge at low speeds. This turns us back up to our normal speed right here. And then this last one tells us that we have indeed finished getting out of the way, and it will retract everything and close the door. So I will be showing that. In fact, I'm probably going to start a little side project recording as I build various things on Block Mesa. Right now I've got a simple power yard and a machine shop which is unfinished. It just got everything out of the hole in the cave, basically. So that's going to be it for this episode of Block of Tea. Bye!